Marc DeWitt. I'm here to talk to you about our new Stewardship campaign for year 2025. But before I get started in that, how many of you have downloaded the Breeze Church Management app on your phone? Well, I invite you all to go and try that. Whenever I downloaded it, I found where I had not exactly been donating as much as I had pledged, and some other neat things that are in there. Plus, if you start skipping your tithes, the GPS feature on there helps us track you down. I'm kidding. Anyway, I'm going to build upon the message that my friend James Dumont told a year ago, standing in the same place in the other church, about why St. David's and the Episcopal Church means so much to me. About 26 years ago, my parents, my dad was Catholic, my mother was Baptist, and of course my sister and I grew up going to one of each week, ping-ponging between the two faiths. Had been invited to an Episcopal church in our hometown in Lufkin. And Dad and the priest hit it off. They ended up becoming lifelong best friends. And the priest told them, well, your kids are automatically Episcopalian since they were growing up in both the Catholic and the Baptist church, which we all found to be very funny. But that prompted me the next week to go and find our nearby Episcopal church and see what it was all about. About 4 years later, my niece was being baptized. And for the first time that I could ever remember, my entire family, my entire extended family, was sitting in one pew at our Episcopal church that had become our home. To say that that was a very moving moment is kind of an understatement. But the Episcopal church brought my entire family together. Not to say that there was ever division in our family about religion, there wasn't. There was no rife or strain about the faith whatsoever, but it was nice to actually have everybody sit in the same pew at home. When Colette and I moved in together, and this is now fast forwarding about half that amount of time to about 11 years ago, just before we got married, I drug her to the Episcopal Church in New Braunfels, where we were setting our roots and blending our families together. And when I opened up the doors, I just went, oh no, everything is red. It's November. There's no reason for everything to be dressed red. The bishop's here. This is not a great first day for Colette to show up and to experience the Episcopal Church. But the bishop was a retired bishop that happens to live in that town. And he was actually serving as a supply priest since the priest was out actually on vacation. So we had a normal service that was, very friendly. And speaking of friendly, when I was walking out, I introduced myself, said, I'm actually visiting here. I was a little nervous when we first walked in. And the bishop asked me about, what my Episcopal background was. And of course, I'd served on vestries. I'd been a junior warden and, knew a lot about the faith. And the man put his arm around me, drugged me down to the parish hall, and spent the next 30 minutes making sure that we felt like we were welcome and going to be a big part of that church. If you've ever served on a vestry or on an outreach committee, you know that there's something magical that happens in the first 4 or 6 weeks, or that doesn't happen, that locks in someone to actually feeling like they're home and that that's actually their church. He went out of his way to make sure that every one of those boxes were checked before we walked out of that door. But that church never felt like home. It felt like home for my youngest daughter, who is now wishing to attend seminary. They did a great job of embracing her, but for us, that church never ever felt like home. When we moved to Denton, I visited this church first, and then of course I visited St. Barnabas, and I visited the church down towards Louisville and stuff, but I came back here. The front of your pamphlet actually has the reason why I came back here. There's a photo on there. I don't know if Paul put that collage together, or if Wendy did, or somebody else did, but they did an amazing job putting that collage together. There is something for everyone of all ages here at St. David's, and that is something that is truly magical. It's, and someone who travels and moves a little bit like I do, it is something that is hard to find in a lot of Episcopal churches, but we have it. And what we have here is truly extraordinary. It's so extraordinary that after many years of basically being not much more than creasters at St. John's, because we just never felt like home there in New Braunfels, after just attending here for a couple of years with me, Colette's decided this is enough of a home to take confirmation classes. So once again, something in the Episcopal Church has brought my whole family back to one church again. And it is St. David's that has done that. So to say that St. David's home is sort of an understatement for me. With us going towards the capital campaign for 2025 and the stewardship campaign, I'm sorry, it's not a capital campaign. We're done with those for now. Stewardship campaign. We're having to increase our expenses. Of course, running this building is a lot more expensive. And there's some other things that have to do with inflation that I'm not going to bore you with that leads us to ask for some more money. And I have no problem checking that box where I'm going to be donating the additional, if not some more on top of that, because a place that is this loving and a place that has this much magic involved in it is certainly something that I want to see thrive. So when you pray about what you're actually going to do for your stewardship this next coming year, I hope that maybe you remember my story and understand that all of the volunteers and the staff and everyone that actually works so hard here creates a very magical place. Y'all have a great Sunday.